Welcome back, fight fans. Welcome back. Welcome back. Let's just break this down and be unbiased and honest in our analysis. This idiot and that they call he knows his sport, he keeps calling me out. And so, I just like to break him down and just give the truth about the guy and who he is and what he's doing. He's basically a sub chaser. He's chasing subscribers with a narrative. And his narrative is similar to the LDBC because when you start making videos trying to defend the LDBC, when you start making videos defending guys who raise bait, when you start making about guys who are PBC fanboys, who everyone knows who these guys are, we have to be honest and unbiased about who you are. And so who he knows his sport is, he's a fanboy of Errol Spence Jr. and he's slowly turning into a PBC fanboy. He's turning into an LDBC fanboy, and that's okay because that's who he is. It's not his fault that he looks like Peter Quillen. It's not his fault that he slides Errol Spence Jr.'s name in and out of his mouth all day. That's what he does. His name is constantly sliding down his throat, in and out of his mouth, because that's who he knows his sport is. Because he knows his sport doesn't know his sport. He doesn't know anything about the sport. He doesn't know anything about the game. And let me highlight his ignorance to the boxing game and to everyone else, because you have to be honest and unbiased. Is when a lot of subscribers were calling him Peter Quillen, he couldn't even tell you who Peter Quillen was. He had to go look up who Peter Quillen was. If you don't know who Peter Quillen is, then you don't know Canelo Alvarez and Danny Jacobs. You're a casual to the sport of boxing. Now, when you see he knows his sports agenda, he says Mikey Garcia has no chance. Says Mikey Garcia can't win the fight against Errol Spence Jr. He says that, it's just going to be a blowout shutout. He won't win a round against Errol Spence. Errol Spence will blast him out in 5 rounds, even more impressively than he did, a Chris Algieri, which makes no sense to me. But since he says all these things, let's just examine this. Errol Spence Jr. did a conference call nationwide today, actually, and he came out and stated that Mikey Garcia, if only a casual boxing fan, these are Errol Spence Jr.'s words. If you know anything about boxing, you understand that Mikey Garcia has a chance. It is boxing, and he's a talented fighter. So if Errol Spence Jr. can acknowledge these things, but he knows the sport can't. That's what's being honest and unbiased about the situation. That's what's being the truth about the situation, is that Mikey Garcia is a legitimate threat to Errol Spence Jr. Now, Errol Spence Jr. may feel like he can beat Mikey. He may feel like it may be easy or hard or whatever he feels, but he feels like anybody has a chance, especially someone that talented. That's what Errol Spence Jr. stated, that he feels Mikey Garcia has a chance in the fight because it is boxing and anything can happen. He don't know his sport has already stated that Mikey has no chance. He's already wrapped it up and give him no shot at winning. So that just proves his idiocy when it comes to the sport of boxing. You don't know who Peter Quillen is. You clearly stated that, but you look like him. And then when you also look at other things, he likes to bash Mikey Garcia, say he has no chance. But I thought, well, maybe he just doesn't think highly of Mikey. I gave him the benefit of the doubt as a boxing, as a boxing commentator. And then he turns around and says, outlandish things about Canelo Alvarez and Errol Spence. And then he says, Errol Spence could beat Canelo Alvarez and, could wear him down and beat him and get the win. And I'm like, well, maybe he's just an Errol Spence Jr. fanboy, because we all know Canelo Alvarez would blast out Errol Spence Jr. within the first 5 rounds. It wouldn't even be competitive. Canelo Alvarez, too strong, too quick, too good of a boxer, has too many intangibles over Errol Spence Jr. It's not even close. We don't even know if Errol Spence Jr. can move up to 154 and beat Jared Swift Hurd. We don't even know if he's that good. We don't know if he can move up and beat Landy Lotta at 154. So the fact that anybody would even consider him beating Canelo Alvarez at the middleweight, the king of the middleweight division at the moment, when who's levels above Errol Spence Jr., it's not even a question or a comment. And so the fact that he was naive enough to say that, I'm thinking, well, maybe the guy's just a fanboy for Errol Spence Jr. Maybe he's just, because I already know he's ignorant to the sport of boxing because he doesn't understand the sport of boxing. So then he comes out and says, Canelo Alvarez couldn't beat, Andre Ward at 168 pounds. Because I thought the best weight for, Canelo Alvarez, if he were to fight Andre Ward, is about 168 pounds. That would be better for Canelo. And if him and Andre Ward fought, it would be a close fight. A 55-45 fight is a very close fight that either guy can win. But you would have to give the edge to Canelo because he's the younger guy. He's the guy that has an elite skill set who's been active. Andre Ward has never fought a fighter as good as Canelo Alvarez. This guy brings up Carl Froch. If you think that Carl Froch is the same level as Canelo Alvarez, then you don't understand boxing. If you think that, Sergey Kovalev is the same level boxing ability-wise as Canelo Alvarez, you don't know boxing. You have to understand that none of these fighters that Andre Ward has ever faced has ever showed a skill set that Canelo Alvarez has and possesses. Never showed the elite level precision as far as diversity in his shots and defense. No one Andre Ward has ever faced has had that. Andre Ward himself, I'm sure, would admit that Canelo Alvarez would be a challenge. It wouldn't be a walk-through fight or a pushover fight, and any boxing expert would give Canelo the edge, especially at 168. 175 would change the dynamic of the fight for me. I feel like that's going too far in weight for Canelo. But the fact that this guy is coming out defending the LDBC, on his knees, kissing up to the LDBC, and the fact that he stay on his knees when he mentions the LDBC shows me the type of guy and the character that he has, because this guy is not being honest and unbiased. So at this point, you can't respect him as a boxing commentator because he's ignorant to the sport. He doesn't understand the sport. He doesn't understand who Carl Froch is. He doesn't understand Peter Quillen. He doesn't understand levels to the boxing game. He's a casual fan who's just got into boxing, and he's just learning the sport as he goes. So that's what he is, because he honestly does not know his sport. But once again, Unbiased as always, it's the IBFP. Please share, like, and you must absolutely subscribe.